Coming up, the University of Iowa celebrates its homecoming traditions.
The university's main library gallery shows off a new exhibit.
A new quarterback, Hawkeyes make a key change in their homecoming game.
He just doesn't seem to want to quit. With October almost over, is fall ever going to come?
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. It is Monday, October 28th. I'm Johnny Valtman.
And I'm Avery Arns.
And the third member of our team, Elizabeth Smith, is live outside to tell us today's weather story.
Elizabeth, how's the weather looking early on this Monday morning?
Warm weather is looking to make a brief return. I am here at the Iowa Memorial Union, where it is currently 47 degrees and cloudy. Today's weather should be mostly sunny with a high of 70 degrees. As we get into tonight, it'll cool down to about 66 degrees. Looking ahead to tomorrow, the temperature should reach 81 degrees. Gusts of wind up to 39 miles per hour on Tuesday may help Iowa City keep their cool. I'll be back later with a look at the week ahead.
Homecoming week this past week at the University of Iowa, and there were plenty of festivities to keep students busy during the week. DITV's Marshawn Gunn is in the newsroom to tell us about one of the most beloved traditions.
Out of all the events that happened this past weekend, I got the chance to go to the homecoming concert presented by Scope Productions. With the weather finally making it feel a little bit like it's actually fall, students gathered to celebrate homecoming.
Students filled the Pentacrest lawn as the University of Iowa's homecoming concert began. Historically, Iowa's homecoming concert has been able to attract a wide variety of popular artists.
We've had Kendrick Lamar here, we've had Mac Miller, we've had Billie Eilish, like a lot of people, and that's just like recently, like 2000s.
This year was no different, as Iowa City welcomed the 502s as the openers and Magdalena Bay as the headlining act. Students excitingly listened as the 502s brought a folk orchestra sound, and Magdalena Bay shook the stage with their alternative pop sound. The concert was hosted by Scope Productions. Scope is a student-run organization that has a focus of bringing quality concerts and entertainment to the University of Iowa and the Iowa City community. Events like these are not only exciting for students, but also beneficial in other ways.
Also a cool opportunity for students to get involved, like obviously our organization, like we are trying to learn as well. Like we've got all sorts of different committees, and like we are able to kind of learn how to put something like this on as well.
While it was a little chilly for the concert, that didn't stop students from celebrating homecoming. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Marshawn. Looked like a lot of fun. And for the homecoming main event, the Iowa Hawkeyes took down the Northwestern Wildcats 40-14 back on Saturday, but they were led by a new quarterback. DITV's Brady Barron and Joel Keller witnessed the change.
Other than a 40-yard pass at the beginning of the game, Iowa's quarterback Cade McNamara struggled to get anything going on offense, and a change was needed.
We had already made the decision during the week that we were going to rotate Brendan in a little bit, and thought third, fourth series. So depending on how it played out, so it just worked out that way, and then he did a really nice job. And
Sullivan's speed brought new life to the Hawkeye offense and also allowed him to make a big block.
Just do what I got to do to help us be the best we can, and then that play was maybe getting chip in the block.
Sullivan's dual threat ability allowed for other parts of the offense to open up.
He used to go to Northwestern, so they know he could run the ball. So they just widened it out, and stuff opened up for me. So it's nothing but good. So
Caleb Johnson scored 3 touchdowns in the victory, scoring from 25 yards, 26 yards, and 41 yards out. Brendan Sullivan and this Hawkeye offense had an explosive 40-point outing, but they weren't the only part of this Hawkeye team that played well.
That's right, Joel. The only thing that matters is having more points than your opponent. And against Northwestern, the Hawkeye defense and special teams played in near perfect unison to make sure the Hawkeyes won. The Hawkeye defense bounced back after a rough outing against Michigan State, keeping the Northwestern offense off the scoreboard.
I just tried to remind the guys, one game doesn't define you.
The defensive line accounted for 2 sacks, including a fumble recovery and a safety, Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson worked together to snag an interception, and the defense held Northwestern to 62 yards passing, while Quinn Schulte added an interception of his own.
Obviously tackled the ball much better. I think our leverage as a defense was much better, and I mean, start to finish, I feel like it was a very clean game defensively.
But the defense got a little bit of help as Reese Dakin put together a punting masterclass, averaging just under 45 yards per punt, punting for over 350 total yards, and downing 4 of his 8 punts in the 20-yard line, flipping the field and putting Northwestern in bad position all day.
Anytime the ball started on the 5, 6, and then I think the 3 different possessions, it kind of just narrows what they can do, allows us to speed things up.
But on the other end, Caden Wheatgen found a seam and took a punt return all the way to the house, finally breaking the seal after weeks of being close to his first punt return touchdown. Add the dynamic rushing attack to the stifling defense and explosive special teams, and the Hawkeyes put together a 3-phase game to get the win on homecoming night.
That's right, Brady. And head coach Kirk Ferentz won't commit to a quarterback for next week, but the Hawkeyes are focused on preparing for battle against Wisconsin for the rights to the Heartland Trophy. From Kinnick Stadium, I'm Joel Keller.
And I'm Brady Barrett, DITV Sports.
The University of Iowa has requested a cease and desist against Christina Bohannon. Bohannon is running for Iowa's 1st Congressional District representative. Bohannon's opponent, Republican Marionette Miller Meek's campaign, sent a letter to the university over the matter. An ad last week which aired that showed Bohannon wearing the gold letters IOWA, a university trademarked logo. Both candidates have featured the university in advertisements and social media. A whole lot of excitement is happening in Pella. The Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship have taken over a 162-acre abandoned mine land as part of a reclamation project in the Pella Wildlife Area. Coal mining was a large part of Iowa up until the mid-20th century, where the sites were left relatively inhospitable areas. The Iowa Department of Natural Resources has worked to repair the area since 2021 by cleaning and planting trees while also trying to revamp the water quality. The department has reclaimed over 120 abandoned sites with an expected 30 more sites awaiting. The Pella Abandoned Mine is the largest land reclamation project the state of Iowa has ever done, and it is expected to be open to the public in the summer of 2026.
The state of Iowa has culled more than 1.3 million chickens. The Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship announced on Friday that they had completed depopulating birds from Pure Prairie Poultry. The chickens were given over to the state after the company closed its doors earlier this month. Due to the cost of caring for the chickens, the state asked the courts to authorize the depopulation or culling of the birds. The culling lasted from October 17th until the 28th.
The University of Iowa's main library is showing off Hawkeye history with a new exhibit. DITV's Isabel Thier toured the exhibit and asked the stories behind the process of making Hawkeye history come to life.
I'm here at the University of Iowa's main library, where the Hawkeye History Sporting Stories exhibit is located. Inside, you'll find much of Iowa's rich athletic history, along with some relics of the past. Each semester, the main library displays a new exhibit in their gallery. Hawkeye History Sporting Stories was chosen to not only teach visitors about the history of Hawkeye sports, but also gives the library an opportunity to show off some unique items.
The main reason that we like to have exhibits in the main library gallery is because this is a great space to show off things that we have in the archives. So we have so many things in special collections and archives here at the libraries, and this is a great way to show them off in the context of a story.
In this gallery, there are displays showing the beginning of Iowa sports and how they made their way into the Big Ten Conference. It demonstrates the importance of exhibitions like this and shows students the exciting past.
I think it's important for people to know the history of how the sports got to where they are today, because a lot of people are like new fans and don't know how the sport started.
It shows the history of both men's and women's intercollegiate athletics and recent achievements. This exhibit will be open for the rest of the semester, but will be rotated out over winter break. From Niall Kinnick and his football legacy to Caitlin Clark and her basketball breakthroughs, all can be found here. From the University of Iowa's main library gallery, this is Isabel Thier, DITV.
And coming up later, a fruit comes to life in art form.
And a look at Hawkeye sports and the rest of the week's forecasts.
We'll be back right after the break.
The race for the White House is heating up, and DITV has got you covered. From local races here in Iowa for hotly contested House spots in Washington to the presidency, we'll have reporters all around the country in battleground states like Georgia, Nevada, and Wisconsin. In an unprecedented move, DITV will be going live from our studio on election night to give you the comprehensive election updates that you need. DITV will be live from 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th until results are called and finalized.
And welcome back. Thank you for tuning in on thedailyiowan.com or KRUI 89.7 FM.
We're going back out to Elizabeth with the rest of the forecast for the week.
Thanks, guys. Let's take a look at the forecast for the rest of this week. The second half of the week will keep Iowa City cool with temperatures in the lower 60s and upper 50s. Thursday brings a high of 60 degrees while it continues to cool off on Friday and Saturday with highs of 55 and 59 degrees. You may want to break out your raincoats later in the week as it could get a little wet with about a 40% chance of rain on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And Avery, I mean, nobody could rain on the Hawkeyes parade. It looked like homecoming went over really well this weekend here at the university.
Yeah, big weekend for Hawkeye sports, a big weekend for Hawkeye activities. Let's kick it over to DITV Sports Director AJ Reeser for an update on this weekend's activities.
Thanks, guys. Big weekend, like you guys said. Every team that is in season played this weekend, including our first look at the men's basketball team. But first, let's take a look up in Minneapolis, where the Iowa women's soccer team, the 11th ranked Iowa women's soccer team, in the middle of a historic season, and it was Madison Wilson, her first goal of the year, striking first and less than a minute into the game. But 10 minutes later, Paige Kala, equalizer for Minnesota, tied it up at 1. They would go on and score another to take a 2-1 lead. It was Sarah Martin, the goalie for Minnesota, finished the game with 3 saves in the win. Field hockey against Ohio State in Columbus. Alex Wesneski early in the third period strikes first. The Hawkeyes, coming off a loss to Michigan State, trying to upset the third-ranked team in the country. Then off a penalty corner is Van Kessel to end the third and give Iowa the 2-0 lead. Ohio State early in the fourth, an empty net, and it was Deion Van Alsum trying to drain out the clock and waits to put it in. And Iowa takes down number 3 Ohio State 3-0. Back here in Coralville, Iowa, volleyball taking on the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan a quick start. Cookren a service ace to set up the set 1 win. Then Hannah Whittingstall a kill in set number 2, but the Wolverines would go on to take that one as well. Whittingstall ended up leading the team in kills with 7 on the day. She added 3 blocks, but Michigan would sweep Iowa in 3 straight sets. They would once again play at home in Extreme Arena on Sunday. Facing the Illini, Iowa's struggles continue. Raina Terry, she had a kill early for Illinois and also a school record in all-time points, and the 3rd player in Big Ten history with 200 career aces. Michelle Urquhart had a career-high 20 kills. Dom Fields had a career high with 5 blocks, but Illinois would finish the job 3-1 in 4 sets as they take down the Hawkeyes. And the basketball team opening up the season with an exhibition game against the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. Peyton Santford hit a fadeaway 2-pointer there. He finished the game with 23 points. Then it was the sophomore, Owen Freeman, slamming it down with 2 hands, finished with 21 points and 8 rebounds. And then Josh Dix, ankle-breaking mid-range shot, finished the game in scoring with 22 points, 9 for 12 from the field. Owen Freeman again and 1, ended up shooting 83% as they win 102-81. That's a look around Iowa City and the country with Hawkeye sports. Send it back to the desk with Johnny and Avery.
Thank you, AJ. And Avery, like we talked about, a lot of Hawkeye athletics, whether it was win, losses, just seems like it's a great time to be a Hawkeye right now.
Absolutely. Just so exciting. Homecoming is such an exciting weekend, and obviously really great weekend for Hawkeye sports.
It is. We'd like to thank you for joining us online or listening on KRUI 89.7 FM.
We are here live in Iowa City every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. and online anytime at DailyIowan.com.
For Elizabeth Smith and Marshawn Gunn, I'm Johnny Valtman.
And I'm Avery Arns. See you again Wednesday morning right here on DITV.